Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that are focused on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. And we are so thrilled to be offering one of the first of its kind digital, virtual, and continuous learning environments, enabling parents and children to connect from all around the world. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild family, community, and relationships. Our different social media platforms provide us with an opportunity to have discussions and to create space for all topics that relate to family, community, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. We recognize that in valuing our children's leadership potential, this also translates as recreating and co-creating environments, both socially and politically, that will enable our children to thrive. For those of you who are particularly keen on the topic, we also write thought pieces every other Monday. We actually have a thought piece that we have scheduled to drop this Monday that is upcoming, so definitely be sure to meander over to the website and check out our online content. Now, if it is the case that you are looking for a listening alternative, well, we're available wherever podcasts are playing, and we provided you with access to a few links down below. Now, as is the convention, be sure to subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you are aware of every time we post. And of course, if you like these conversations and you want to keep them going, like, comment, and share this segment. Let's get into it. Allô les meufs et les mecs. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis, and today's topic of discussion is mental health. And the conversation on mental health this week, I want to continue our conversation that we had a couple videos ago around checking in. So I talked a little bit about my healing journey and around the importance and the significance of checking in when it is the case that you are grieving or going through loss or just trying to figure things out, right? You're on a healing journey for whatever reason that might be. And so part of the wisdom that I received when it was the case that I was going through my very first heartbreak was to check in, to give yourself the space without judgment, without pressure, to feel the emotions that you're feeling as they come up. And they'll come up in waves, it's ebb and flow, but as they come up, you hold space for those emotions, you honor, you respect those emotions, and you give them an opportunity to sit, right? You give them the opportunity to sit, but then you want to figure out, well, what do you do when these emotions are coming up? Because they're coming up to be released, right? So emotions, again, are energy in motion. So when you are feeling emotional, it is energy that is coming up to be acknowledged, to be honored, to be respected, and then to be let go of. And that's how we grow and we develop through some of the hardships and some of the struggles and some of the painful experiences that life brings us. But we need to figure out, well, what's my role to play as it relates to how I interact with these emotions that are coming up, because they can be confusing, they can be debilitating, they can be crippling. I mean, these big emotions are no joke. So I want to talk a little bit about my 3-step, 4-step strategy around checking in, because it's more than just asking yourself the question. And some of us, we really don't even make space to ask the question, so that would be the very first step, but also giving yourself space to respond. And you need to recognize that if you're not in the habit of asking yourself, well, how am I feeling today? You probably are also not in the habit of knowing, well, what is that answer? Like, what emotions am I feeling at this point in time? Or that answer might not be immediately understood. You need to give yourself the space to recognize, well, what emotional states am I in? And so when you do check in, you want to give yourself at least some time, some space to recognize, well, what is that answer? It's not just about checking in and then moving on with your day. It's not about just recognizing, hey, I don't feel great, but hey, gotta push on forward. It's giving yourself the space to acknowledge the emotion that you're experiencing, and then also subsequently figuring out, well, what do I need? And sometimes this is a question mark. don't always know what it is that we need when we're having an emotional experience, but it is an opportunity of self-discovery. When it is the case that you are healing and you're trying to heal in a way that is adaptive and that is healthy for you, you get to know yourself in that process, especially if you're going through emotions that you're not really familiar with. It's kind of a new terrain. You get to understand, well, what is it that you need emotionally to support yourself through that situation? And that is so important, because sometimes it is the people who are around us who know us so well that they have a sense as to what our emotional needs are and how to support us, but we wouldn't be the ones that could articulate or communicate what our emotional needs are. Like, what support do we need in that given point in time? And I think that is so important for each of us to know what it is that we need, how it is we see being supported given the different emotional states that we circle through. So checking in involves, first and foremost, asking the question. Secondly, giving yourself the space to figure out, well, what is the answer? Like, what emotion am I experiencing? So giving yourself at least, at minimum, 15 or 20 minutes to kind of sit and hold space for there to be an answer to arise, for you to start to feel and experience the emotions more acutely and become attuned to those emotions. And then the third is, well, figuring out, well, what is it do I need? Like, what kind of emotional support do I look for? And sometimes if you're completely new to this way of being with yourself, then it's going to be trial and error, right? But as long as you're putting an action plan in place, you're honoring yourself in that sense. You're not dismissing your emotions, you're not choking them down, you're not suppressing your emotions, you're acknowledging them, you're holding space for them, you're honoring them, and you're figuring out, well, how best do I support myself through these emotions? And that's what healing is about. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to experience those emotions without judgment, without criticism, without feeling the need to comment. Just experience those emotions as they are. And then once you've experienced those emotions, and as you're experiencing those emotions even, figuring out, well, what do I need emotionally? Like, how do I support myself emotionally through this? And this could be something as simple as having a conversation with a loved one. It could be journaling, it could be meditating, it could be working out. But I think that's for you to figure out as part of your healing journey, right? It could be a hug. I mean, it could be anything that you want, right? But it's really with the sense of trying to satisfy the need that you recognize is a byproduct of the emotional state that you're in. And I think that action plan and then going through with it, and it's time sensitive, right? Because our emotions are fleeting. We don't feel the things we feel at the same degree, at the same intensity for extended periods of time. And that's because emotions are signals. And as we know, when it comes to drinking water, the less we acknowledge the signal of thirst, the less we experience the need to have a drink of water. But it doesn't mean that we're not dehydrated. It doesn't mean that that need isn't there underlying. So when you start to do this exercise, recognize it's going to take you a moment to become attuned to your emotions, but it becomes quicker when you start to figure out, well, what do you do? When your body, when you yourself, your mind, body, spirit, attunement and awareness recognizes that you are prioritizing your mental health, you're prioritizing your mental wellness by not only giving yourself space to experience those emotions, but also prioritizing the time and energy required to support yourself in those emotions in a time-sensitive way. So it's important to cultivate an action plan to address the need as it is, and to also do that in a timely way. It's not something that you want to put off for extended periods of time, because then your body has a sense that you're not really acknowledging the signals. And if you're not acknowledging the signals, well, why send them to the forefront of your consciousness? And so that's what I think a check-in really is. It's really 4 parts. First is asking the question. Secondly is giving yourself the space to experience the emotions that you're feeling. Third is like, what kind of emotional support am I looking for? Like, what is it do I need? And then fourth and foremost is satisfying that need for yourself. So I wanted to come on here and have a conversation around the check-in, around how to properly check in, how to hold space for your emotions, how to give yourself an opportunity and the space to feel those emotions, especially when they're really big. Big emotions can be very scary, they can be very intimidating, but all you need to do is sit there. You don't need to talk, you don't need to understand, you just need to sit and experience those emotions, wanting with the desire, with the intention to hold space, to honor, to respect those emotions, and to let them go. So that was the topic of conversation for today. Some food for thought for you, something to practice as it relates to focalizing on mental health and health with an emphasis on health, not illness, and giving yourself the opportunity to really grow through the things that you go through. So that's it, but definitely not all as it relates to my stalking situation. Still ongoing, but I will give you the news once I have some available. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video. Talk to you soon.